And so, obviously, Hauptmann's wife spent many, many, many years after his death proclaiming his innocence until her own death. Was there any indication that she was able to corroborate his claim with regard to that piece of information, or is that unknown?
She hired a lawyer who helped her get many, many documents that had been kept from the defense by the state police. They were released, it was probably 40 years later. But her insistence that he was innocent was what intrigued me in the first place. She did convince other investigators. Ludovic Kennedy wrote a book, The Airman and the Carpenter. Tony Scaduto wrote a book, Scapegoat. Both of them detailing some evidence that had come forward through her efforts and through their own efforts to show that Hauptmann was framed. But nobody had assumed that Lindbergh was part of that. What she knew was that her husband every Tuesday and Friday picked her up at the Bronx bakery where she worked as a waitress at 8 p.m. And he did so the night of March 1, 1932. There were two strangers who testified on behalf of the defense that they recalled being there that night because of a peculiar thing that had happened, which is that Hauptmann, when he arrived, was asked to walk the landlord's, not the landlord's, the owner's dog of the bakery. And so he was walking this German Shepherd, and some man accosted him thinking that it was his own German Shepherd that had been lost. The two were both German, spoke in German, and Hauptmann said, "Come back to the bakery, I'll show you the owner." And so the fellow remembered that night because it was later that same evening that it was blaring on the radio that Lindbergh's child was kidnapped in New Jersey. There was a fellow sitting there at the bakery who recalled being there a week after his son was hospitalized, seeing a man run in and tell the waitress in German, "This man thinks it's his dog," or something to that effect. So both of them came forward and testified, but they weren't believed.